Okay. Oh, and that's not gonna work. Sorry, it's been a little while since we've streamed. One second. Okay. Double check the audio. Testing, testing. One, two, three. This is the audio. This is me. Takes about 10, 15 seconds usually to actually have the audio. Okay. Seems like it's working. Sorry about that long, probably relatively. There we go. Now it seems like we have audio going and we should be good to go. So, just a quick update. This is, I guess, like the third generation of like Chloe live streams. So currently, some of the major changes is that I'm not really planning on picking titles anymore. I'm just going to label them as like number one, number two, number three. I might try and put like number one, talking about Youth Global New York, number two, talking about Near Research Collective. But the idea is these live streams aren't really meant to be watched back by the community. They're more meant to create highlight reels off of. So when highlight reels get created, that'll be where there's like a full title, full description, like cover image and all that stuff. My goal is to actually just try and stream Monday to Friday again, every day of the week, and see if we can get some good content up that hopefully Marma J Chan, for example, can be in the videos of. So maybe she'll be down here talking about, East Global and how we went to East Global New York. Also, we went to Pragma New York and Cafe New York. And similar was true for Waterloo. So I guess quick background, Chloethedev here, founder of the Marma J Foundation, founder of Back Inc., both nonprofits. Marma J Foundation aims to leverage Web3 tech for social good. Black Inc. aims to support young tech entrepreneurs in the Twin Island nation of Antigua and Barbuda. I mean, there's Redonda as well. So can't forget Redonda. Big ups to EAG for all the work they've been doing there. But a few months ago in June, I went to Cafe Waterloo as I guess, a solo hacker. But then I ended up finding a team with Blue Dow, which was great. So we went to Cafe Waterloo, which is just a way to meet up with new hackers. But the one of the most coolest parts of the event was Pragma Waterloo, where you could see the speakers. Where Vitalik was there. I think it was my first time being that close to Vitalik. Ilya spoke as well. Benny was kind of releasing EIP 6551, like NFTs owning NFTs. There was some Quest stuff from Rabbit Hole, and a bunch of talks from, Dieter. I saw actually a few times. I saw Dieter also in New York and in Milan. Dennison, who works on Tally, it was great to hear from them and see what Tally was doing. Because again, where we have lots of DAOs in the near ecosystem as well. We have the NDC coming up as well. So it was great to see the ideas from Tally and how they were working on, different types of on-chain swaps for DAOs, and then Powerloom as well. So a lot of great speakers, which led quickly into the hackathon. Um, and so for the ETH Global Waterloo Hackathon, I was actually the only dev or only tech person on my team. And for those that know me, I mean, my handle is Chloethedev many times. But I am not really a developer. I'm more of a researcher. I dabble in, developer, like in code from time to time because, um, it's fun and it's the way things can get done more efficiently. But we got the Polygon Pool Prize, mainly for trying to connect with Polygon ZK EVM in our front end. We got the best use of Boss third place, and we got the Graph Prize, Pool Prize, for trying to use Graph substreams to connect data from multiple chains. And so we can kind of showcase, create a profile for Web3. I never even saw this before. But this was our project, Piglet. We applied for many projects, and this was my team. So I was kind of the front end dev, and we had like a UX designer, product designer, and a product manager. But part of my thoughts from this submission was that okay, if we can win a few small prizes, when Veneer was, pretty not nice, but if we can win some small prizes with me being the only developer and I'm more of a researcher, then what could we do if we could bring, some computer science students to come hack with us? And that was what led us to, I'm going to keep this one open, but that's what led us to, or led, the Marma J Foundation and Back Inc. to think about how can we get a team out to an ETH Global Hackathon in general. Um, so ETH Global has hackathons all around the world. One of the closest hackathons to the Caribbean is ETH Global New York. And it is generally expensive to get, students or people from the Caribbean to any of these events. But we thought, you know what, instead of waiting until next year and bringing the students back to Waterloo in June, maybe we could try and get some students out to New York. And so we did. Pragma, New York was quite interesting. Um, Similarly to Pragma, we missed some of these wonderful talks, but I think the coolest one was from Off Chain Labs talking about Arbitrum and how things got started there. Seems like I'm dropping quite a few frames at the moment, and so just wanting to make sure. Oh, there we go. We're back. So one of the coolest talks was from Arbitrum. Um, we didn't, I missed Joe Lubin's talk. Would have been great to hear. Missed Cami. I really wanted to hear her speak. Um, Listened to most of the other ones, but we were back and forth between the cafe and here. But again, hearing about how Arbitrum, uh, you know, was kind of a paper, kind of the same time as Ethereum was a paper, and how they've kind of taken decisions to support the ecosystem in a variety of ways. One of those being the launch of Stylus. Let's see if it comes up. Arbitrum Stylus. So basically, Stylus is maybe similar to Near in the way in the fact that it uses WASM to allow you to write smart contracts in Rust, C, C sharp, and still be EVM compatible. So with Near, you kind of use Rust to break down to WASM, but you're not being EVM compatible. This is a pretty unique value proposition, in my opinion. So learning about this was pretty cool. And I think this is kind of a direction that we'd like to kind of explore further in Marma J Foundation and in Back Inc. But for now, we're going to focus mainly on the actual submission with Global New York. So the amount of funds that we received with our team, like bounties, was actually lower, sadly, than what we got from ETH Global Waterloo. But it was the first time. Oh, yeah, you can try and win a hoodie for giving feedback and try and win some jobs. So for this one, we only won. Well, I shouldn't say only. For this one, we won one prize, the third place for Near once again, and we did have a live demo and source code. So let's see if we can go to our project page. And I'll try and explain what we tried to do, and then I'll kind of showcase what we did. So the People's Place was meant to be pretty much Facebook Marketplace on chain, using NFTs for labeling data or connecting data to be digital. So, for example, let's say you wanted to buy a socks on Facebook Marketplace or on Amazon, any of these online marketplaces. You'd actually buy the NFT. That's how the funds would get transferred to the DAO, and then you would actually burn the NFT to receive the good, or whatever kind of on-chain process there. Wasn't really that important, to be fair. But the idea is we wanted it to be tangible physical items that would be traded here. So similarly, when you go on Facebook Marketplace, you might see a couch you like, but usually there's like a text-based bidding to see who's actually going to get the couch. Are you closer? Are you willing to drive? Are you willing to buy it first? Or are you willing to pay a bit more? The idea was to kind of take a bit of that back and forth out by changing the flow to be, if you want to sell a couch on Facebook Marketplace, just list the couch for sale, kind of like you do on Amazon, and actually mint an NFT for that couch. And anyone who wants to actually buy that couch, they can still communicate back and forth, they can still discuss, but at the end of the day, the idea was that whoever purchased the NFT would have the ability to collect the good. And you could set up, within 7 days, they have to meet up. And for dispute resolution, we plan to use a DAO. So we have like a full um, project description, a visionary project to transform the online marketplaces. I think it's a pretty cool idea. Um, the idea is we wanted to build our front end on Boss, the blockchain operating system, to allow for people to engage from any blockchain. Um, we meant to use the ZK EVM on Polygon, um, mainly to start looking at what should be private and what should be public. For example, even if you buy something on Facebook Marketplace, maybe you don't want every single transaction to be seen by everyone. I know Polygon ZK EVM is more about scalability than about privacy, from my understanding, uh, but they do have the ability for leveraging actual zero knowledge proofs. We did have some pieces of the project that were meant to just be on Polygon generally, without trying to build into any privacy aspects, because again, some parts should always be public, in our opinion, when we're building this project. To bring in some reputation from other blockchains. I mean, we've seen Near Social and the reputation that's able to be gathered there from likes, who you're following on Near, right? You have your account, your profile, and what you've been doing. But the idea here, sorry, the People's Place, was to use an Ethereum-based social graph for reputation as well. So again, just showing how we hopefully could be able to provide um, uh, support for any blockchain, and build reputation into it as well. So maybe if you're trying to sell a couch, you want someone that has a high reputation, maybe lots of followers and following, maybe followed by at least one person you're following, right? So they seem like a real person, and that's the idea. We were thinking about, so we used not Filecoin specifically, but we used an NFT pinning service. So, sorry, uh, art.nft, nft.art. I can't even remember anymore. So this shouldn't have said Filecoin. It should have just been like, uh, again, we partnered with some students for this, and it was their first time actually engaging in a Web3 hackathon. So I think it was wonderful how far we came. The idea was quite visionary. And then I guess you could see where we got in 36 hours. So ETH Global Hackathons only last 36 hours. And so let's open up. Let's see, does it give you the full GitHub? No, just a picture. Let's see. Oh, it's actually kind of cool. It shows some of the stuff. Okay, let's see. Live demo? Okay, perfect. So okay, reject. So this was the demo. We had some nice little logo. This logo is what we actually pinned using IPFS. So again, we didn't get too deeply in, but I think it was still great for us to start researching or start looking into how we start engaging with IPFS, why and when to pin things. And that was kind of the idea for me. Um, the idea was to be able to connect the polygon normally to show your lens profile. So we kind of just had a button here to show what it would look like, not fully built in. Of course, the idea would be we'd actually pull up the data from your on. So, okay, it didn't even go back. So maybe I'm dropping frames and maybe okay, it's just slow. So the actual idea, and I'll try and show it with the actual demo, will be that when you click connect to lens on Polygon, you'd actually get a MetaMask dropdown asking you to, please log in. Um, it would be on Polygon, right, here, and it would just tell you, please log into Polygon. And then we'd actually have like the ABI of this lens contract, and it would start displaying some of your data, like how many followers you have, how much people you're following, and maybe like a short reputation score. Um, then realistically, you'd have to have some way of saving that reputation score, either in the UI or on chain in some way, like on the Near protocol blockchain. But that would be how you would start bringing in your social graph. Similarly, you can, connect to Near, and it would, show your Near social graph and maybe alter your reputation score. Um, we had like, join the community buttons, and we had some like some basic information. Again, I don't think we had very strong front end dev support during the hackathon, but again, the students tried, and I think it was great to see. I guess you can come from two different directions, right? The direction of, you know, uh, we didn't get to put up too much, but without using any pre-built frameworks, in my opinion, like this is pretty much from scratch, arguably. Um, pretty good job. And I think with a couple of weeks, it could have gotten a lot further. We tried to showcase the engagement for when you actually do connect to the Polygon ZK EVM. Again, I think this was potentially difficult for the team to grasp. So again, when you look into the source code of the widget, you can see that we actually, oh, okay, yeah, that's it. It was quite interesting actually to see the students start understanding how the boss works. Um, uh, okay, to see how the boss works, I might have to actually do near dot social. Oops. Ugh, sorry. Let's just do near social. Ah, wait, that one should have worked. No, it shouldn't have. Near social. And then go to any widget. Sorry, I already had these things open. Ah, I needed the dash. This should work though. Okay, so I don't know. As you can see, I think that like the team was learning how to build on DOS as we were kind of building, which probably wasn't very efficient. We did have many kind of workshops and kind of discussion, but again, I think doing it in a, yeah, this isn't the right, let's see. Oh, okay, this was just the market page. My bad. It was before this page. But either way, before you got to this page, uh, actually, even on this page, there should have been, actually, this is actually a pretty good example. There should have been an actual connection to the Polygon ZK AVM, not just the like title and like checking out. But with where we got so far, you can kind of see the idea. So, for example, if someone had a blue T-shirt, a red T-shirt, and a green hat, right? Again, you can get some images pinned to IPFS here. Um, and then, when you actually do the sale process, you could take the IPFS image, the title, the data, and the price, and you can actually mint that NFT as well. But add to cart, blue T-shirt, add to cart, red T-shirt, add to cart, green. And obviously, we need some sort of scroll bar here, some sort of carousel in the UI, so you could actually scroll through all the items. But this was the general idea. And I personally, we didn't even get a checkout button here. But hopefully, at least it can be shown kind of what the idea was for the project. Um, you'd normally be logged in to your, at least your ZK EVM profile to start interacting with the DAO. If you wanted additional reputation, you'd be logged into your near profile and maybe your Polygon Lens profile. You'd be adding items to cart from someone's marketplace. So someone had to actually or create these items and add them to the marketplace. Two different flows. You can have them minted right away, like say on Mintbase or whatever else. To keep things simple though and make it multi-chain, it would make sense just to have it be, front end data with an IPFS link, and then whoever ended up buying the item from whatever blockchain, it could actually get minted on that chain as like a receipt. And there could be kind of arbitration on the ZK EVM in terms of funding, but you could also replicate that flow on any chain. There was actually a chain I was speaking to over the weekend in East Milan or last week, and they were basically working on this flow where EVM-based DAOs could get privacy in their DAOs and be multi-chain. Well, the DAO just sends messages, or it sends and signs messages cross-chain to kind of enact decisions in a private manner. So again, in 36 hours, maybe only got like a very, very basic, not even MVP, kind of like a showcase. But the idea was to be able to allow, multi-chain interactions with a Facebook-like marketplace. So hopefully that was clear in like the goals and the plans. Um, and those were the two hackathons we kind of two official hackathons this year that we participated in. There is the NearCon hackathon coming up soon. So nearcon.org. I don't think we'd have the funding or support to be able to bring any students. Sadly, but if I do go to NearCon, from my understanding, only one teammate has to actually be at NearCon live. And so the idea is, for this hackathon, um, we'd all be applying to hack, and maybe I would be in person, and the rest of the team would be remote hacking. We kind of already have a basic idea for what the project would be. I worked on this months ago, so give me a break when you see what it looks like. Um, let's go on near.org for this actually. So I'm just going to share a quick showcase of just because I wanted to get an outline of what the game might look like. And yeah, so it is going to be an idle game, something that you could hopefully build right into your near social UI. So for example, if I go to my homepage on your social, there's all these components that I can have in my top right. So imagine Marmaray Forever being right here and hopefully being able to interact directly in your sidebar or at least see updates in your sidebar. Currently, for example, if you try and click any of these buttons, let's find the one that makes a bit more sense. Like playing Chain Team Tactics, you can see how we have gaming components in our sidebar already. You can, check out how your items are doing on Chain Team Tactics. It would be awesome to add some transfers and stuff, but again, I don't think we have full support on the UI. But you can start seeing information about this kind of carousel, and the Back Ink team built this over the summer, where you can kind of see the wiki here, how much tokens you have because I'm logged in on Boss. So hopefully it makes a bit of sense, and you can imagine how we could have, instead of Chain Team Tactics, we could have Marmaray Forever. And for Marmaray Forever, let's actually open the widget. It should be somewhat playable, not really. So it knows who you're logged in as, and it knows that there's no high score yet. Um, this does not work very well. This was me trying to code this a while ago. Yeah, I should spend a lot more time with this over the next few weeks, few months. But you start game, and so pretty much your boss level starts at 1, your current level is at 1, love spent, and boss HP. So it's saying you got to claim some love to be able to do anything, and some directions. It's claim love, spread it to attack the boss, new game to reset. Okay, so let's claim some love. Awesome. My current love is 16, and now I can spend the love to attack the boss. Awesome. I have 0 love. I spent 16 love. Boss HP has gone down a little bit. So what's basically happened, it's checking the block height, and I get love based on the blocks. I spread it. There you go. That's how much I've spent. And I can, 6 love. There you go. So hopefully relatively straightforward. And you could imagine someone being able to save their high score on some smart contract, which just basically checked, only save the high score for the certain account, and if the score they're trying to save is lower than their current save, don't actually do the on-chain transaction. Put a message saying you already have a high score, and then use a view call to kind of show what that high score was. So we don't have any smart contracts here. This is just built on the front end. I can claim more love. It's been 32 seconds, or 32 near blocks. I can claim more love. This might not work. Yep, I actually can claim more love. Oh, but it changed. Oh, no, wait. So your score is just how much love you've claimed. Okay, so let's just go until I actually beat the first boss. What's supposed to happen is when the boss HP goes below 0, the boss level should go up, and the HP should go up as well. So let's see. 12, we're close. And this is pretty much the idle game. The idleness is waiting for near blocks. I'd like to have a counter showing what the block is currently, but I think I removed that. There you go. Boss HP is 212, boss is level 2, and there you go. When you hit new game, it's supposed to submit your high score, and you can start from 0. The idea of why you'd ever want to start a new game is that we actually want some of your love gaining to be based on on-chain holdings. So not based on fungible token holdings, but actually based on NFT holdings. So again, you could imagine that if I can start closing some of this, right now I know I'm logged in as Chloe.near. I know how much pixel tokens I have, and these are my units. So you could imagine that based on these units and their power, you might be able to spend love in a different way. And you could also start looking at the health of your characters, the damage of your characters, and speed, and actually start saying, okay, you know what, we're gonna, how many units do you have? You need 6 minimum units for changing tactics. So maybe you take the 6 strongest units, and then maybe use that for some idle gaming. More realistically, oops, this is only chain team tactics. Let's look for a different one. This one has all the games. Uh, so you can imagine this one's a bit different. This one's showing all my pets for pixel pets and showing the different pets I have. Maybe you'd be able to select your strongest pet or one pet to actually engage with the love and spread it. That might be kind of unique, kind of cool. And then also we have crypto heroes in here where it's a bit more uniform, where every single player has 3 characters. So this is actually where I was thinking of taking the game, where let's see, characters. Everyone in the game only has 3 characters. Class ID 2, Class ID 1, and Class ID 3. I don't know why it's out of order. And you get some basic Unix timestamp for if they're injured. You get their experience level, which shows you what level they're at. And so again, you can get a pretty basic representation of, okay, well, let's say this is your knight. This is the level of your knight. And so basically based on the level of your knight, that could, maybe you spend love 64 times faster, right? And the idea is to show a basic showcase of how you can have a game on Near and integrate with other projects and actually make maybe this game a little more fun based on someone's on-chain reputation again. So you can have a small little widget here showing someone's on-chain. There's actually a widget for this created by Shardog by Joe, I want to say, from Shardog. Let's see if we can find it quickly. I don't think I mean, let's just check. Um, rep. Let's just do that. Reputation. Reputation. Maybe they called it reputation, which would have been awesome. But oh, maybe this is it. Ha ha ha. Okay. So this is something we could like fork, for example, get rep. And you could imagine when you hit when you click new game, instead of like it knows your near account already when you play this game, right? We know this already. And you could imagine adding in this component that basically takes your near account, calls the get rep function, and shows maybe your player profile in the top corner. It shows, when your account was created. Maybe that could give you, wait, sorry, I'm an OG, but I can't see what that says. Oh, I'm following 319 people and I have 255 followers. Awesome. Maybe for each shard dog you've minted, you get additional, love generation. And you can imagine this is going to be helping shard dog to get more users. Maybe fractal verification allows you, some multiplier in the spend. And then you can kind of see, how many SBTs does the person have? Um, how many transactions in the past 30 days? How many all time? That might be cool. All time transactions could be one. Storage use, I actually love this one because storage staking, I mean, we should have more components for removing stake storage, but again, you could see, how different interactions could be used to, these are on-chain interactions that could be easily viewed and they're already here in this component. And you can actually just showcase them right here on the UI, for example, and showcase what multipliers you get for those things. And you can have buttons like claim more shard dogs here, get your face verification SPT here, and different kind of ways to engage other projects. So that's the idea. That's the project. This is all open source. Marmaj forever under my profile, Chloe.near, if you want to check it out. I am going to hop off very shortly. We have a research collective.near. Sorry. The research collective has its 3rd class coming up very shortly. For this class, we will be actually, I can pull up the lesson plan. Why not? Let's see. So this is the full lesson plan, and I'll go through it quickly, and then I'll kind of showcase, what we're doing. So module 3 is data transformation and visualization. Um, I'm going to be doing a very quick overview of just the ways that I think about Web3 data and data visualization. So again, 5-minute intro, just kind of going through this syllabus and talking about why we're here for the course, what's the plans, and what are we doing. I do not like how it's so hard for me to find. Yeah, I'll just show an example of why. Oops. Uh, Reopen, close tab, profile. I did save the component here, but we haven't actually, you know, put all this in proper places. NRC v1. This looks incorrect. This is correct. Okay, so there might have been updates to this, but at least this shows the page and how people have started coming onto the page. It shows how much students we have. We have at least 20 students that have signed up, which is pretty cool. At this point, 29 students. Awesome. So again, the course, in my opinion, is pretty well, a lot of people are interested in it, but we kind of need to add probably that registration page here. Let me just do that quickly. The registration button is there. Oops. Yeah, and this is going to the index of xvii.near. Anyways, I will just quickly put a little note. Register. And put the link so it's super straightforward. Oops. Register. Do this thing. Now we can look here and we shouldn't have to refresh, but I will refresh. And boom, to register, click here. Anyways, instructor will be me. Guest instructor will be Jeff Gold from NearHub. Pretty excited about that. The date will be today in a couple hours, in actually 40 minutes. Duration is about an hour. We usually end the lecture a bit early, but we usually take the rest of the time for questions, going through homework. So if you want to know about homework and assignments, we have a thread for that. I should probably add more information soon. The course syllabus is available here. Um, there's some like introduction to data visualization on Python. I try and add like some links to some notes for students to go through. There's an article about, or a paper, an article, what is GPT-4, and then an actual library for Python. So this is just general data visualization Python, and it's a specific library, pandas, that makes working with data very easy and very straightforward. And actually, GPT-4 uses pandas and Python. And I think it's a great way to learn to interact with GPT-4 in this way. So again, 5-minute intro. Um, then there's about 10 minutes to go through this tutorial. I'm not going to be going through it fully. I'm just going to be kind of reading through the highlights, like why use Python or Excel, how you're usually interacting with pandas. You're kind of importing pandas. I've kind of always seen it as PD, so that's good that what I'm seeing on GPT-4, for example, seems to be typically what people are seeing. And then you kind of get matplotlib to kind of plot um, the data into kind of visual representation. So in my opinion, this is kind of what we're doing. And then, how to actually bring in the data from the Excel sheet. So by, using PD, and then kind of, this is your Excel file, and you're saying like where the Excel file is, and like this is the actual file name, and that's going to be your data. That's it. In a single line, read the entire Excel file. And if you want to print it, you can print it like this. Data, which is the entire Excel file, and then sheet names. And so there you go. Um, you're kind of seeing the same data written out a bit differently. These are all the Excel sheets that are available. Um, and yeah, this is your file name, and you can kind of work through cleaning up data. And I kind of, again, have a real example here, not here, here, with a poll. Actually, I should duplicate that and go back. Okay, so there was a poll done with 90. I tried to pick one with the most votes, And so this vote, NDC election logistics bond values quorum for Congress, had 94. And so I felt like, okay, this was, one of the most engaged with polls. And you can kind of see, okay, voting ended, and you can view the results. Viewing the results brings you here, where it might be a bit difficult. So let's say you wanted to view 100 entries. There you go. This is all the entries, 91. And you could actually start viewing, okay, zcarb.near thought this, zeitwarp.near thought this, Ewan thought this, Dacha thought this. And you can go through what everyone thought. Josh said almost 10 near, Suave thought 10 near, Shreyas is 2 to 3 near, Rogan is 4. But it's a lot. It takes a lot of time to kind of analyze this information one at a time. And of course, we are looking at let me close, sorry, all this. I don't need it anymore, at least not right now. So as you can see, you can use pandas and Python and matplotlib to evaluate the data, plot the data visually, but we also have access to GPT-4, which can do similar work. And so I have a short kind of back and forth with GPT-4 here. So let me pull that up and actually make the screen a bit bigger. Probably a bit hard to read. So here we go. Um, so you can see I gave the data to GPT-4, results from NDC election. Um, and GPT is kind of talking me through some of what's happening as well, right? So I'll first load the data to get a sense of its structure and types of questions it includes. I'll clean the data to ensure the responses align with the questions, maintaining consistency and formatting. Okay, sure. But this is the part where I think it's important to actually see what's happening and seeing the code. So this is what it's going to do. So it's going to import pandas as PD, same thing we saw in the tutorial. And then we're going to load the CVS file. So again, this is the file path, and you can kind of see what's happening um, in GPT-4. Now, in your local file system or the server you're using, might have a different file path, but you can kind of see that you just find where the file is, wherever you put it, and you load it into some variable. And then pretty much you can have, what DF means. It's a part of the pandas library. And so you're going to use pandas to read the CVS file, and this is where the file is. Okay. Um, and like I think DF is like oh gosh, now I'm gonna have to look it up. I looked it up already, and then I forget. Um, this is me and my issue with programming that I forget everything. DF pandas Python. I think it like takes the data and pushes it into like anyways, data frame. Waha! It makes an actual data frame for the data. Okay. Um, and then it's gonna like just put the headings. So it's just doing like an overview, not doing the full data. So this is the part where I think is pretty cool because you could hide what happens and not look at what's happening in GPT-4, or you can say, show me what you're doing. Like show me what happened and show me the result. You could see that as it did this, it imported the thing, took all the data, and as you can see, it's only displaying the first few rows. So, um, how do you think the minimum vote count should be decided? With all these options, should proven attackers be barred? All these options, and so forth. Sorry, we missed a couple questions. I was thinking that looked weird. These are the accounts that interacted. These are a few examples. And the bond amount. The bond amount is kind of where I stopped in this analysis, but I think it gives a pretty good example of how to use this. Because if you wanted to use this, this poll to figure out what the community thought about um, uh, the uh, the bond value, you'd have to find some way to get all the responses in a clean way. Um, so I did have the actual Excel sheet here as well. Oops, I do not know why it's doing that. Very weird. Okay, let me just open it again because I don't know why. Excel, I mean, opening sheets on my laptop doesn't always go very well, but it works. All that matters. Discard, yes. Okay, Weird. Oh, it's just it got minimized. Okay. So as you can see, not all of so some people might have skipped certain questions. So it seems like, for example, Blaze might have skipped this first question, and so the data actually isn't very cleaned up. You have a response here. Your fashion perception is amazing, um, which was a response to the actual open-ended last question. And so you can see if you just take this data and plot it right away, you'll get, okay, at least two responses that aren't gonna make much sense. And so I actually have like an example where if you speak to GPT normally and naively, you will actually get incorrect responses. And so let's kind of push through it a bit. Um, Again, data cleaning, yada yada yada. You can ask it what it's doing. Remove markdown. It's taking out the different like the dots and the brackets, and checking the results. Um, Now you're importing matplotlib as plot, which is the same thing we saw in the guide. You're gonna have a question column. You're gonna have a summary, and we can kind of go through all this in the class, right? This is the size of the figure, 10 by 6, and here you go. Um, 10 by 6. Not actually, 6 by 10. Anyways, the idea is you naively get some inaccurate responses. So your fashion perception and know if there's limited competition, those runnings get them by default. Obviously, these two should be removed. And if you were managing your own data, you might just remove these responses. My issue is that sometimes you might be managing data directly on chain, and if this is the on chain, and this is not on chain right now, but if this is the on chain result, you might not be able to easily change it, and you might want to just be able to alter it in your data. Um, Again, normally if you're doing this yourself, you might just clean things up, in your terminal, sorry, in your file system or whatever else. Um, but if we continue, we can see how you can also just actually input what the options are, what are the possible options, and then have valid responses. And so I thought this was pretty cool. Like, again, the way I talked back and forth to GPT-4 led me to realize, okay, you can do this. You can just define valid response options, and then the responses, the data frame filtered, is basically everything from before, blah, blah, blah. But is it in valid responses? Then you're going to actually display it. So similarly, you're doing a new summary based on the filtered DF data frame. Um, and again, this is kind of the code, and this is it actually generating the code. And then you get this. The responses seem to be in order. 0 to 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to 5, 5 to 6, 6 to 7. Sorry, 5 to 6. Ha, one is missing. Probably because no one selected it. Probably had 0 responses. And you can go through and double check, right? And that's where I think it becomes very fun. Um, but you can transform some of these responses. Like if you see 0 to 1 to 1, transform it to something else. You can group these together. Again, in my opinion, this is just for giving you an outline of how you can do basic, you know, um, data analysis. But again, you could actually respond. You could ask questions. So this is kind of where I'll ask a question. I see that there is no visual representation for 6 to 6.9 near. Is that because this spell because wrong? Probably. Is that because this response was not selected by anyone? And so there are ways where you can just talk to GPT-4 to analyze the data. There you go. Or, okay, and then you can be like, you know what? I want to even include zeros. And then, again, in my opinion, you'll be learning some code for how that works. So first, it's showing me the code that I can use in Python. And then I can say, yes, please generate the matplotlib. And then again, I like saying show your work. You can actually see initializing a series with valid responses, updating the series, generating the plot. Oh, ooh, even more fun. That's even more fun when there's issues. Sometimes you take too long, GPT-4 will forget. Oh, oops, I forgot to import. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Maybe it doesn't like, oh, so it doesn't like zeros. I love that. So apparently, it actually can't work with zero. And this is kind of where I love this because we're seeing the limit. So during the in 30 minutes when I go through the class, I'm not going to try and generate new information. I'm just going to try and generate like go through what we already generated and maybe go like have people in the class ask me questions to ask to the data and see what it responds with. But you start to realize very quickly GPT-4 is useful, but not all powerful. There's some very basic things that it cannot do. And if you just went into your own code editor and you used Python, Pandas, and Matplotlib yourself, and then asked questions to GPT-4 about that, you'd probably get a lot further. So I'm going to end this stream very shortly. But I just kind of wanted to go through what we've been kind of doing over the past few months, whether it's kind of attending various hackathons, ETH Waterloo, ETH Global Waterloo, ETH Global New York, the future plans, potentially going to NearCon and hacking on Marmaday Forever, an idle game that should live in, sorry, too many pages, that should live in your boss homepage, maybe top right hand corner. And if you don't like us as much, maybe down here a bit more. Um, but yeah, and then quickly just showcasing, this doesn't always work, but our Astra plus plus platform for the NRC. Anyone who wants to join is able to. We have quite a few members already in the research section of our DAO. So all you have to do is come to, research-collective.near.social. We have a whole article for this, which should be linked here about the NRC. Join the DAO is right there. But again, you hit ask to join, you pick researcher, and you can make a proposal on chain. So what it's going to take your current the DAO right here, it's going to add a proposal for yourself to join whatever your account you're logged in as under the researcher role. I'm not going to do that. I've done it before. But again, showing off the members that are already on the DAO. Let's see if we can show it. I'm sad it doesn't show just the number, but you can see we have quite a few. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and 21, 22, 23. So our goal was to get to 100 researchers by like October 1st, start of the class, or before that. Our new goal, in my opinion, is to get to 100 researchers by the end of the class. So we're making our way. I think we need to showcase more of the value that we can provide to people. And on that note, we are working on submitting a bill to the House of Merit to the tune of $3,000 per month, $9,000 total. And the basic split up will be actually seen right here. A third of that going to the council. So we actually need to move Hannah probably to the council. She's been doing a lot of work to support. And I'm not going to be requesting any funds myself, so that'll be for xvii.near to continue managing the boss components for the class, Ernest at tim.near to continue managing the highlight reels and social content. So this video I'm doing right now and all class content is recorded. And then Ernest, cuts those up into highlight reels. And then back to page one, we have Hannah17.near. Um, who has been supporting on just logistical support for the class, which has been very supportive. So that's one third. The other third of the funding each month is meant to go towards guest lecturers. So like I said, we have a guest lecturer, Jeff Gold, coming out. That ends up being about 250 a week. So that's the general idea, just to bring out the high profile guest lecturers to come speak about what they're working on. And, we distribute that funding in like Near or ST Near, and not all guest lecturers will be Near native. And so I think it'll be a great way to kind of showcase, the value of Near to other lecturers in the ecosystem or researchers in the ecosystem. The other third is meant to be for the actual researchers, the actual people that are on our DAO and actually, supporting us. So this registration page, again, I guess shows it off. And not everyone who's in the course is on our DAO. It should be one and one, but of course, not always going to be like that. So all of these people, though, who are taking the course, hopefully will join the DAO, and they'll be the same people who earn the other third. So currently, let's say we get 30 people, signed up properly. That would mean that we're doing about 100 USD worth distributions per, sorry, um, yeah, $100. Sorry, it's $30 per person, 33, 35, whatever. So maybe let's say each student does an article per month, then we can get it about like 30 something dollars out for each of these researchers. And then I would assume not everyone would always do it every month, but that's the idea. If we can get each researcher in our class doing at least one small article per month for around 30 to 40 USD worth of a bounty, that would probably be a great start. And then we could hopefully start on this page showcasing, okay, Johanga 108.near has earned 130 so far. Here are their articles, their approved articles. And that's kind of the idea back and forth is that we want to start showcasing not only the students, but how much they've earned and why they've earned it. And like if they're on the DAO. So lots of work to be done on the boss, lots of work to be done in general. But hopefully this kind of showcases what I've been up to, I guess, and by proxy, what the Marma J Foundation, what Back Inc. have been up to. And I guess the NRC is kind of is external to Marma J and Back Inc., but Marma J and Back Inc. do heavily support this project. Um, and usually on these streams, I'll also try and showcase a bit of what Marma J Gaming is up to. Notifications. That's so cute. No, thank you for right now. But we are kind of we do have weekly gaming calls. We do have community managers leading those. We do have weekly raids going on and tournaments and rewards going out. But on the dev side of things have been pretty slow. We actually have a call tomorrow night with our last call with our dev team that's been supporting us, our dev mentors. But without funding, it's pretty difficult to have consistent dev support. And so we're kind of shifting focus for the next little bit. So thank you anyone who might read this in the future, but most or watch this in the future. But mainly thank you, Ernest, for kind of obviously going through this content, cutting it up into different highlight reels. So obviously there's different topics here that can be expressed. Even 1 to 2 minute videos would be great because those can go on TikTok, those can go on Instagram, those can go on whatever other platforms, X. But yeah, thanks y'all, and until tomorrow, hopefully.